Welcome to your Master Detective graduation. In today's explainer, we're putting together our final clues to solve the ultimate mystery, how the universe itself is actually organized. And trust me, understanding this is going to change exactly how we view our daily lives. So let's dive right into this final mission. Section 1, Master Detective Graduation. Section 2, Exploring Nested Systems. To really grasp the architecture of the world around us, we need to understand a concept that is the absolute core of our investigation today: systems existing entirely within other systems. Imagine a zoom-in, zoom-out camera right in front of you. Step 1. We start intimately close, looking at a single leaf. Now, on its own, this isn't just a piece of greenery. It's a highly complex, self-contained world. It's got its own cellular structure, pores that open and close to regulate gases, and these miniature factories running photosynthesis to convert sunlight into energy. It is a fully functioning, breathing system doing its own critical work. But then, for step 2, we zoom out. We realize that leaf, with all its internal complexity, is connected to a branch, which is connected to a trunk. It's inherently reliant on the systemic flow of water and nutrients from a much bigger system, the tree. And finally, step 3, we zoom out even further. The tree itself is just one small participant in a giant, staggeringly complex network, the vast forest ecosystem. The microsystems sustain the macrosystems. Without the leaf's miniature factories, the tree dies. Without the tree, the forest ecosystem collapses. We go from a microscopic cellular level to a sprawling macro environment in just a few logical steps. And this brilliantly illustrates the fundamental rule of our universe. We have self-contained units that are also parts of a larger whole. A leaf, a tree, a forest, they all function perfectly on their own as independent units, while simultaneously acting as crucial interconnected pieces of a much larger structure. That is the true architecture of nested systems. But, this doesn't just apply to biology and nature. Think about your own workplace or a modern business. A single product development team functions as its own ecosystem. It has its own internal culture, its own daily routines, and its own specific goals. It is a self-contained unit. Yet, that team's output is just one vital component of a larger corporate ecosystem. The company relies on that team to survive, and the team relies on the company's broader infrastructure to exist. It's the exact same nested architecture, playing out in boardrooms just as it does in the forest. Section 3. The trick question. To truly test out your new master detective skills, let's take this micro to macro thinking and apply it directly to ourselves. Here's a quick interactive moment for us to really apply what we're learning. Is a person a whole system or a part of a family system? Take a second and ask yourself where exactly human beings fit into these boundaries. I mean, are you the self-contained leaf, complete and independent, or are you simply a part of the larger tree, defined by your connections to those around you? Well, the crucial point here is, it's a trick question. Actually, they are both. Just like the leaf in the forest ecosystem, you and I operate as independent, self-contained units, while at the exact same time, we're integrated parts making up larger family systems, community systems, and societal networks. What's truly fascinating is how this duality drives human sociology and psychology. Think about it. As individuals, we have a deep, fundamental desire for personal autonomy. We want to be self-sufficient, unique, and independent, the ultimate self-contained system. Yet simultaneously, we are wired with a profound evolutionary craving for tribal connection. We actively seek out families, social circles, and communities to belong to. We are constantly navigating the tension of being a complete whole while desperate to be a part of something else. Understanding nested systems explains this psychological paradox perfectly. Section 4. Putting the clues together. Let's move over to our final case board and see how this builds upon every single clue we've gathered in our past investigations. This comprehensive review acts as our synthesizing conclusion, basically a mastermind map summarizing everything we've learned in this educational series. Instead of just looking at these concepts in isolation, let's weave them into the story of how our universe actually operates. Remember the elephant? That taught us about holism, the idea that you can't understand the whole animal just by looking at its tail or its trunk. You have to see the complete picture. And to define that picture, we needed the boundary circle, teaching us where one system ends and another begins, establishing our clear boundaries. But those isolated parts don't just sit there, do they? That's where our toy car came in, showing us how gears and axles form vital connections to make the vehicle move. And the nature of those interactions? We use the swings to illustrate relationships, showing how a push in one direction creates a resulting swing in another, a constant dynamic dance. Finally, the bathtub demonstrated systemic flow, how resources, energy, or even information pour into a system, circulate, and drain out. All of these quirky metaphors lock perfectly together to prove one fundamental, inescapable rule. Everything, from the smallest gear in a toy car to the massive flow of water in an ecosystem, is a part of something bigger. Which brings us to this incredibly powerful definition: holistic perspective. It's recognizing the integrated nature of the world, where every entity is interconnected within a vast hierarchy of increasingly complex structures. Adopting this holistic perspective is the ultimate realization of total interconnectedness. It really is the grand design. To ground this, think about how this perspective completely changes fields like modern medicine. For centuries, a doctor might treat a patient with a super specialized focus. If you have a stomach issue, they only look at the stomach. But adopting a holistic, nested systems perspective means realizing the digestive system doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's deeply interconnected with the nervous system, which is influenced by the patient's psychological stress, which is dictated by their external environment and family system. Treating the patient effectively means recognizing they are a complex hierarchy of nested systems, just like the leaf on the tree. You can't just fix the leaf without checking the soil. As you officially graduate today with a completed mental map of our highly integrated world, I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Where do you fit into the vast hierarchy of nested systems? It has been an absolute blast investigating the architecture of the world around us. Keep analyzing those connections, and thank you so much for joining me in this explainer.